everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in again. Good to see you. Today I'm going to talk about why 121 training is so hard. So I get that question sometimes, and I say it a lot. So people are like, well, Hilary, why do you say 121 training is so much harder than, maybe everything that I've been through so far? So there's a few reasons, and I think when you combine some of these things, if you're not doing some of these things, two or three of them can really set you back in training. And I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute and tell you that you do not want 121 airline training failures. So I'm telling you right now, do not jump into a position like that unless you are prepared. And we're going to talk today about some ways that you can prepare to make sure that you're successful. But remember, 121 failures will follow you for your career. They could potentially prevent you from getting the next job, especially if you're going to stay in the 121 world. You may be able to go and get maybe a different type of job doing a different type of flying, but you need to be very, very careful about your success in training at airlines. So let's talk about some of the things that you need to pay attention to make sure that you're successful. So why is it so hard? Let's talk about that first, and then that will tie in. So it's hard because it's a much more complex aircraft, probably than you've ever been exposed to. If you're coming into this, say, straight out of being a flight instructor or something like that, this is a much more complicated aircraft with a lot more complicated systems, which means a lot more complicated information to memorize. So you need to be able to absorb massive amounts of information about this very large and complex aircraft in comparison to what you've been flying. If you've been flight training in a 172 and then you're going to jump into a regional jet, that is a large transition. And I'm getting on my soapbox. I do not intend to be negative or discourage anyone, but I cannot impart to you enough how important 121 training is. I guess my cat Jasmine has decided to appear in the video taking her bath. So say hello. I have my little work partner today. So if you don't know, I love my fur babies. So I have a few of them. You might see or hear them around in my videos. So it's a very much more complex aircraft than you've probably been exposed to up to this point. If you are, you're watching this video, you're getting ready to go into 121 training. So I'm going to make that assumption. It is also a much faster aircraft than what you've probably been in. So think about that. Everything that you're doing in that aircraft is probably going to happen 10 times faster than it did in your 172. So all that planning, all that thinking, all of that think 2 steps or 3 steps ahead thing, it needs to be quicker and faster, and everything is happening at a faster rate than what you're used to. So again, it's very intense. You got very complex systems. Everything's going 5 times the speed of what it used to go for you, like in the cockpit, as far as the speed at which you're approaching, the speed at which things are happening, right? It's a lot faster aircraft. So with that being said, this is not something that you want to enter into if you are rusty. That's another piece of the puzzle, is you cannot be rusty on things before you go into 121 training. Okay, she's distracting me, so we're just gonna put her out of the video. So you cannot be rusty. You cannot be a little rusty on your instrument. You cannot be a little rusty with procedures and regulations and things like that. You cannot be rusty with multi-engine procedures, things that you are going to be learning, because that training is no place to catch up. You're going to be just keeping your head above water if you're current. And I'm telling you, ask people who've been through the training. They will tell you. This is the feedback I get as well from pilots that have gone through training. So it's not the place to be rusty. You've got to make sure you are brushed up on everything. And then on top of that, if you're like, hey, I got the job, I'm rusty, I need to brush up on these things. A lot of airlines will give you sometimes, like right at training, or maybe if you're lucky, you get it a little bit, a few days or maybe a week before training. They will give you sometimes some memory items to memorize. So these are part of your flows and things like that. So they're just simply pure memory things. Sometimes you'll get those in advance so that you can get a little bit of a jump start, and that's always good. And I'm going to tell you, if they give you study materials in advance, use it, memorize it, get familiar with it, because that's probably going to go very quickly when you get there. They gave it to you in advance. They probably expect to know you to know a good portion of that when you get there. So this is serious, everybody. Airline training is no joke, and I have seen too many resumes with multiple airline failures on them. This is not good. This is not good for your career. So please pay attention. Try these things. They'll definitely help you, okay? All right. Distractions. You must minimize any distractions. Typical 121 training is going to be 2 to 3 months at the training center, okay? Life goes on hold for those 2 to 3 months, whatever that period is. Life has to go on hold. Your family has to support you. So you cannot have distractions. If you have stuff going on at home that you need to take care of and things like that you're worrying, that's on your mind, that is going to hurt you in training. So have a conversation with your family, with your support system, and say, hey family, I'm going into training. I need your support to be successful. Family, you've got to hold down the homestead while I complete this training. I can't have distractions. And that also means don't be flying home on weekends to see the family. Listen, sacrifice a couple months of your life for the rest of your career, okay? So family is going to have to be on hold. You need to focus. No going home. Oh, I miss my family. Look, it's a 2 to 3 month sacrifice of not seeing your family, and it is worth it for your career. So people who decide they want to go home on weekends and do fun things instead of sitting there and studying with everyone else are not going to be as successful in training. So if you go home on the weekends and you don't pass, that's on you, because I've seen it happen. So, a lot of these things that I'm telling you guys, I have seen it happen to someone. So I'm putting these videos out to help so that you guys don't make the same mistakes that others have. Okay? All right. So support system at home is key so that you don't have things at home distracting you and worrying you while you're in training. So have that conversation with your family. Get together and say, all right, we're a team. I'm doing this thing. I need your support because I have to focus. Okay? Have that conversation with your family. Have them watch this video. Have them understand what you're about to get into. You may know, but does your family know? Do they understand what you are going to be going through for the next 2 to 3 months to realize your dreams of becoming an airline pilot? Make sure they know so that they can properly support you and you can be successful as a team. Okay, so you're there. Study and prepare. We talked about the memory items. Think about your study tactics. Are there weak areas that maybe you know in your study habits themselves that may be something that you need to improve on, or maybe look up some study habit tips. I'm going to give you some, okay? But think about your current study habits. Have you had any struggles up to this point? Where are those weak points? Try to fix that and address that before you get to training, okay? And then when you get to training, get a study partner. Now, typically you'll have a sim partner, whatever, and they may not be your study partner. They may or may not. It depends, personality dynamics. Get a study partner and study with each other. That is critical. Usually a pilot class is going to be made up of a mixture of pilots with different experiences, right? Maybe not everyone coming into your pilot class is brand new like you, right? I mean, maybe they're coming from a different airline. Maybe they have some different kind of experience that they can help you with some things that, hey, I've been through this before, or I've done this before. I have a type rating, and maybe you've never gotten a type rating before, up until this point. So lean on each other. Everyone is going to have different strengths and weaknesses in your class. So help each other. This is kind of like a team effort. You got to help pull each other through and help each other study. And the chair flying. I cannot stress enough that it's not silly. I'll tell you, chair flying, sitting in front of like a picture or a poster of the cockpit of the aircraft you're studying for, and running through the motions. That is a great way as well to run through your flows and just practice. Think of it like a sport, right? I mean, you've studied, you've gotten pilot ratings up to this point. You know what to do. You're just going to have to do what you've done times 10 in 121 training, okay? So everything you've done is just going to be 10 times more intense. But it's nothing new. It's just more learning, but in a much more intense environment. Okay, so make sure you have a study partner. That's critical. Make time to study. I am telling you, this is a very intense. All that you should be doing is, studying, dreaming, eating, and sleeping this airplane and this training. That is what you need to focus on. So I know I've gotten pretty excited in this video, but this is one of the things I'm pretty passionate about because I have seen people's careers be affected by failures in training because they leaped into it and they were not prepared. So ask yourself, are you prepared? Do you have a mentor? Can you talk to someone who's been through this training before? Lean on them, ask them what it is like and the intensity of it. It's very important, and I just am really tired of seeing these failures on people's resumes, and I've been seeing it for a while, and I want you guys to take this seriously. It can and it will affect your ability to get a job. And right now, today, when I'm putting this video out, the market is pretty tight. Their jobs are a little short. There's a lot of pilots in the market right now. So that one failure could delay you, right? Hiring is going to pick up again. It always does. But you're probably not the pilot that's going to be getting a job right now. It's going to be the pilots that don't have any failures. I'm not saying you're not going to get a job. I'm just going to say you're farther down the line because of it. So watch this video before you go to 121 training and try these things I've told you, please. It's very important. A lot of people are offered these jobs and nobody tells them what they're stepping into as far as preparation and how critical it is that you pass and how it is going to affect you if you don't. So please, you got some 121 training coming up. Buckle down, study, hit the books, put life on hold, study, be successful, and I'll see you on that airline job. Everybody have a great day. It's nice talking to you again. Thanks for following my channel. Please like and subscribe. I'll be putting more videos out, and hopefully it'll be some more tips to help you. Until next time.